It is Monday, June 8th. I'm your host, David Nellis, and this is The Breakdown. Got a few quick things for you this morning to take a look at. We're looking at this new bounty platform from Pump.Fun. If crypto is an attention economy, then Pump.Fun is really leaning into it once more. We're going to be taking a look at what's happening there. We're also looking at which coins have been the market winners over the recent downturn. Not even just over the past week, but going back to the end of January when all this correction first started really accelerating. We're going to be taking a look if there's any signal there to be read from the market noise. And other than that, we're looking at the relationship between stablecoins and market cap of the total market cap of crypto, and whether there's anything to read about what we might be headed into over the next 6 months to a year if this bear market really does start to set in. So without further ado, this is The Breakdown. Let's get to it.
Nothing said on The Breakdown is a recommendation to buy or sell securities or tokens. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and any views expressed by anyone on the show are opinions, not financial advice. Hosts and guests may hold positions in the company's funds or projects discussed.
So first, let's take a look at this bounty platform from Pump.Fun called Pump.Fun Go. And essentially, anyone could kind of pitch an open bounty and put money up to see if people would like to do a certain thing to receive crypto in return. And obviously, this is an evolution of the live streaming feature that Pump.Fun had first gone live with back in 2015. I think it was around mid 2015, and I think we might already know how that live streaming service went originally. Yeah, it actually went live with its live streaming feature way back in November 2024, so about a year and a half ago already. And I mean, anyone who knows anything about Pump.Fun, you know, it's a meme coin launchpad that's ultra gamified. And the live streaming feature essentially turned into an amplifier for launching meme coins. So people kind of really took that and ran with it. You had people, you know, offering to commit suicide unless their coin would pump through the roof and so on. There was also, I mean, I have this article from DL News up on the screen that people were, you know, threatening to shoot their pets unless their meme coin would pump and so on. They had to essentially take that live streaming feature down. Pump.Fun actually relaunched its live streaming feature in April 2025, so about 5-6 months after initially launching it and quickly taking it down. It said it had reinstated live streaming for about 5% of its users with really strict content moderation. Fast forward now about a year later, and now we have a bounties platform, which is kind of a play on the live streaming feature. Essentially, people can take up a bounty, film themselves doing whatever the bounty says, and then the moderator of the bounty decides whether it's been successfully completed and then pays out the money. The top bounty right now is essentially a little bit grim, but I guess there is some journalistic merit to interviewing the family of Henry Nowak's killer and the arresting officer and so on. I mean, it is quite grim, but I mean, there's also some other less grim bounties that are open and have been claimed as well. So it kind of goes both ways. I'm showing you one on my screen here that, you know, the bounty was to drink a raw egg while yelling to buy a meme coin called Bounty Work. And
let's go.
Someone
Time to buy some fucking bounty work. Buy bounty work now. Ooh.
Okay, but unfortunately for that person, someone had already uploaded a video of them drinking raw egg.
Buy bounty work.
And saying to buy bounty work. So, you know, there's this one. I mean, someone has to pour flour over their head, doing jumping jacks and saying a ticker. And multiple people have apparently claimed this one. So I guess it's not just a one and done bounty.
Bounty work.
So it's a little bit like the ALS challenge, you know, but instead of, you know, raising money for charity, you're pumping shit coins. Buy a set of clothes for a homeless person. Someone did do that, and they were awarded $92.50 worth of Solana. That's nice. Flushing head down the toilet while saying a ticker. I mean, this is a little bit rough, but someone did do that. But then, as you can see, someone else has also done it, but they did not receive the bounty. So I kind of feel for these people that are doing these humiliating acts, but not actually receiving the bounty. Here's a nice one. Call your parents and tell them that you love them. This awarded half a Solana, so $33 worth of crypto. So that's not too bad. So I mean, there is some ridiculously demeaning acts that you can do for money now through Pump.Fun, but you can also do some heartwarming stuff too. So I suppose there is a yin and yang there in for online degeneracy, if you want to call it that. Someone shaved their eyebrows here, trying to earn 10 Sol. That's quite a decent one, but unfortunately, this person has not been paid out. This person, however, did win 10 Solana.
We'll do anything for attention. Let's get it. Fuck, man. Let's go. Fuck me, bro. Shit. Fucking hell. This thing doesn't have a lot of juice. Attention, baby. Go buy Attention Corner. Fucking, I don't know where it's listed. It might just be on Pump.Fun. I don't know. I just saw this bounty. Said, bet. Nigga like me, I can get that shit.
Okay. So that person won $660. So essentially, this is now marketing for meme coins, for tiny liquid nano cap shit coins. And apparently they all have a marketing budget, or they can sell some of their coins to fund people to do ridiculous bounties on Pump.Fun to pump their tickers. So, you know, I mean, what more can you say about this stuff? I mean, I will say that, like, look, I mean, let's jump over to the Blockworks research platform to take a look at the analytics for Pump.Fun to see what's going on with the platform overall. Maybe that might give us some context as to why Pump.Fun is leaning into this stuff. I have here the Pump.Fun, the spot exchange volume. So essentially the trading volume for meme coins on Pump.Fun. And you can see a steady decline since early May. So over the past month, trading volume has been decreasing on the Pump.Fun platform. I mean, nothing too shocking at all. I mean, we saw a similar decrease at the start of the year around March, and then kind of leveled out and picked up again. And now we're seeing another drop. It's actually at its lowest daily point in a while. It looks like the lowest daily point since mid-November, mid to late November in 2025. So volume is decreasing on Pump.Fun. So it makes sense that they would roll out an interesting new feature on the platform that might see a resurgence in, I mean, I keep saying degeneracy, but there's no other way to describe it. It's just pure crypto degeneracy. Let's have a look at, you know, revenue, how revenue's going. I mean, revenue is sliding alongside its trading volume, to be expected. So let's have a look at the Pump.Fun token itself. And you can see, a steady decline over the past month alongside its trading volume. And then, but we can see that since the bounty platform went live, and I think it only went live at the end of last week, it's actually been on a steady increase, which I suppose isn't too bad at all. What's this in percentage terms? Yeah, the Pump.Fun token is actually up about 14, at most about 15% since the bounty platform went live. So I guess that is mission accomplished. If you're trying to spur renewed, I would say, short-term interest in the Pump.Fun token, you've actually done quite well by launching this bounty platform. I mean, in general, like, it's very tough to have a strong opinion about this stuff, because on one hand, you inevitably come to hand wringing about all the bad stuff that people are going to do in response to money, and it's of course it's really gross to exploit people's desperation in order to either laugh at them for doing a silly thing for money or whatever, or using that desperation to pump the price of a meme coin that is only going to go to zero eventually as well. I mean, we do have all of that, and of course, like, live streaming culture in general, it is quite dark at certain points as well. I mean, you've had instances in France where people have died on stream and all that kind of stuff, and I mean, in general, it just gives rather a bad vibe the further you go down this narrative that people will just do anything for money, and people will just pay anybody to do anything for money, as long as it gets eyeballs and attention and so on. So I do get that. So it's quite hard to have an opinion for this kind of stuff when all of that stuff, when it can just go that far. That said, I will say that Pump.Fun really has a knack for really identifying the true pulse of retail interest in crypto and just internet culture in general, and really trying to facilitate that crowd to join crypto rails. I don't think that there is another app, platform, business, whatever you want to call it, in crypto that does it as successfully as Pump.Fun. So, Kick is really the biggest thing in terms of this live streaming culture. It's Kick. So like I get that Pump.Fun would want to compete with Kick, but also inspire perhaps Kick live streamers to go and do bounties on the Pump.Fun platform as a way to kind of tap that market. And I mean, it was perhaps a couple of weeks ago that I was talking about the pendulum swinging, that we have so much interest from institutions and stablecoins and tokenization and bringing real world assets on chain. And the only energetic and exciting thing in crypto is apparently esoteric financial products on chain, and this whole separate ecosystem of financial products that TradFi can understand, and quite sophisticated traders and investors might also be able to understand in terms of hedging risk and all that kind of stuff, and creating an economy, an on-chain economy around servicing people who want to obsess over minute financial details in order to boost their portfolio or reduce risk in portfolios through crypto rails. Like I get all of that. That is all very exciting. It's super cool that it's happening in a decentralized ecosystem from all kinds of different players and startups that are servicing, TradFi incumbents coming on chain in this new exciting world of crypto finance. All that's really cool. The pendulum has to swing back to this Pump.Fun nonsense eventually. And it will. I mean, I think we've all written off meme coins as we're never going to see meme coin mania again. We're never going to see NFTs again. Okay, perhaps we won't see it right now, but it takes a groundswell of retail people coming back online into crypto to create the next bull market. It is not just going to come from institutions. It's not only going to come from family offices. I think that stuff is like a pipe dream. I think that you will have the crypto market separate between quote unquote investable coins, investable networks, investable startups, whatever it is, in the eyes of TradFi, in the eyes of sophisticated investors, the smart money. You will also have an entire bucket, an entire corner of the market that is purely for retail. I don't think this stuff is going to go away. Pump.Fun's Go bounty platform is essentially an expression of that side of the crypto market is still there. It is still alive. It is still ticking over. Okay, it might be on a much smaller scale of what it was in 2021, 2022. Totally fine. It's going to come back, and this is the very start of that, I would have to say. So as long as this doesn't get too ugly, as long as, real life police the fuzz doesn't pay attention to what's happening on here, and Pump.Fun does a really good job of moderating it so people aren't exposed to danger, people aren't hurting themselves for money. As long as Pump.Fun can manage that, and TBD on that, but as long as they can, then perhaps this might start to remind the general public and also just the internet. I mean, Clavicular hates crypto, okay, but this might remind the internet of what really is so exciting about crypto. That is the immediacy of it, the excitement around potentially coming into a bunch of money for something that you have decided to do or you have crafted yourself, this avenue through the crypto market that says, well, I can just go and do something. It could be launch a coin, it could be launch a product, it could be have a really good insight into what the next big narrative might be, or it might be doing something silly on Pump.Go fun and bring me into a bunch of money that I can go leverage and make something out of nothing. This idea that you can make something out of nothing is still at the very heart of what crypto's value proposition was. It now needs to be what it is right now. I'm just excited to see that energy come back into crypto. Even if at times what happens on this platform might be questionable in the eyes of many, at least it's happening. That's my view right now on Monday morning. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, so I just want to quickly chat about the token market, and specifically the token market since the end of January. So why since the end of January? I have the price of Bitcoin up here on my screen, and in my in a very basic analysis, just looking at this chart, I mean, we knew that at the tail end of 2025, at the tail end of 2025 last year, this is when Bitcoin was at its peak. And then we had, of course, a correction after the all-time high, and then a dead cat bounce, I would say, that started tipping again south towards the end of January. So if you were looking closely at the crypto market around the end of January, you might say to yourself, well, perhaps this rally is going to keep going. And if it doesn't break after this dead cat bounce, which we didn't know was a dead cat bounce at the time, if it doesn't come back after that, then we're probably headed towards a bear market. Is probably what I would say is as an unsophisticated armchair market analysis for Bitcoin. So anyone watching that, you might say to yourself, well, who have been the best performing tokens that aren't Bitcoin since the market knew that we were headed for the next bear market? I would say, at least in terms of the price of Bitcoin. So with that in mind, I thought I might just take a look at which coins might be outperforming since then. So I have it up on my screen, and it's quite difficult to read it all at once. But as you can see, I mean, most of the token market is in the red significantly since that date, since around January 28. But we do have quite a lot of winners at the same time. But I mean, there's been this resurgence, and I don't just want to blanket everything that I'm seeing as just AI slop, but there is right now a big drive for just tokens that have some intersection with AI. It might be an AI terminal. It might be like AI agents that compete against one another, and that you can also trade crypto through this terminal or whatever. There's a ton of these projects that are absolutely ripping. But I'm going to call them right now AI slop tokens. And this is indiscriminate fire. It's just tokens that I don't really recognize. I haven't really had the time or the energy to dig into each one to understand why they're toking, why they're pumping, why there might be some kind of weird tokenomics or an exploitation of the crypto market's reliance on basic market cap numbers to make it reach the top of the leaderboard, which then fuels this hot ball of money that goes between all these ridiculous projects that shouldn't be worth as much, but for some reason the market is rewarding. There's a ton of this going on right now. So, I mean, and you can go see for yourself if you open up any, whatever coin market cap, CoinGecko, whatever you want to look at, there's a ton of projects that are like, they're AI coins, I suppose. They're kind of meme coinish. There's a ton of meme coins too. They're all ripping and outperforming. And I would say that, I'm going to come back to that. That's indicative of something, I believe. But in terms of like what the market might be prioritizing in terms of quality projects, we do have some information about that. So anything that's in blue on my screen is likely one of these AI slop coins that is pumping for some random reason. And I'll leave it to you to go and do your own research about what those might be and why they might be pumping. Perhaps we'll look at that for another future episode. But what we're looking at is in pink, we're looking at VVV, Venice. Venice token is like a platform where you can access all these different AI models and LLMs anonymously and so on. So there is some utility there. It's not just purely meme. But Venice is pumping. Hype is pumping. We already know that from the other day. Hype is in green on the screen. Zcash is in gold. But apart from that, there's also Canton Coin. Canton Coin is positive throughout all of this market downturn, which I suppose says something about the appetite for networks that are really attuned to the institutional side of crypto adoption. So all those obvious ones, okay, like the market is picking winners somewhat. But again, going back to these AI slop coins, I will just say that I would caution against underestimating how much signal there is in that all these ridiculous AI meme coins are pumping in amongst all of this volatility in the price of Bitcoin. I would hedge a bet. I would say with almost, with quite a lot of certainty that once we get out the other side of the Bitcoin correction, whatever you want to call it, the realignment of the crypto market towards projects with fundamentals, i.e. revenue, users, and cash flow, and so on, all that might be the case. But crypto is still going to be crypto at the end of the day. I'm not sure too much is going to change in terms of we love hype narratives. We love froth. We love indiscriminate pumping of coins just because they suit a certain narrative or because there is market momentum, there's volume increasing. This idea that that crypto is going to mature to the point that there are no momentum trades, there's no trading purely on volume numbers, I think is a little bit misguided. So it might not be pure play meme coins that are going to come back. Perhaps they will, but it's going to be anything related to AI that seems exciting, particularly coming out of Asia. I would also bet that those parts of the world that aren't that the West, I don't want to just say the West, but the English speaking crypto sphere, I think has gone quite institutional. I think there's still a ton of degenerate on-chain gamblers in the Asian market. I still think there is a ton of degenerate crypto gamblers that want to pump anything that they can to the moon, especially at low cap illiquid coins. If you can make a dent there and pump the price and then bring in this momentum that once it makes it to the top 100 on CoinGecko, then it's going to pump even more. We're seeing that happening right now. We're seeing that in amongst a deep correction in the majors, in the blue chips. Can you imagine what is going to happen once the blue chips turn back to green and start rallying as well? We're going to see an explosion in these types of projects. I can almost guarantee it. And if it isn't AI, it will be some other adjacent narrative that is playing out alongside the non-crypto investment sphere. So it could be nuclear stocks pump, and then we see uranium-tinged cryptocurrencies go to the moon, for example. But the canary in the coal mine for this, if you want to talk legitimate projects, is WorldCoin. We've seen WorldCoin shoot up, I think, 40%, 50% over the past few weeks and months in amongst this major downturn. And we know WorldCoin, it's somewhat AI adjacent just because Sam Altman is a named co-founder on the project. But even then, I just want to draw your attention. I mean, I know this is from a few years ago, but this was in Bitcoin.com when that Sam Altman claimed that he's not involved in WorldCoin's day-to-day operations at all. He said this at a Tel Aviv University event when he was discussing AI technology trends. This is what Sam Altman said. He said, "I'm an investor." An attendee inquired about Altman's future plans concerning the WorldCoin project. This was before it rebranded to World. Again, I understand this is a few years ago. This is in 2023, I believe. But he says, "I'm an investor," Altman replied to the woman. "I kind of helped put the company together, but I'm not involved day to day at all. I think it's very exciting. I think experimenting with new ways to differentiate between to prove humanity in a privacy preserving way and to think about things like global universal basic income and ways to fairly democratize access is a super great area to explore. But I'm not close enough to the company to meaningfully comment on the plans." So, okay, perhaps something changed between now and then, and Sam Altman is more involved in the World project. But regardless, at the same time, if we have World pumping just because OpenAI might go public soon, or is planning to go public soon, and Sam Altman is connected to both companies. So of course, WorldCoin is going to pump because OpenAI is going to pump as well. I mean, if there's this tangential relationship expressing itself through the price of World, what is going to happen again when the crypto market reverts to being more bullish? It's going to be every other AI coin is going to pump indiscriminately, regardless of revenue and numbers and so on, just because the hype is going to come back, and hype for AI is going to be at its peak, and crypto hype will start percolating underneath it and just amplify all of that noise. So, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, of course, but I just think that all these AI slop coins pumping right now definitely says something about what the crypto market is going to look like in another year and a half, when we are through crypto winter once more. So call that hopium if you want, but this is my optimistic view for this morning. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, so this is just to be a super quick one. This is about the stablecoin supplies. Stablecoins as a percentage of the crypto market cap. And we can see on my screen, I've got two areas here. I've got the orange and the purple. The orange is the total crypto market cap without stablecoins. So everything that isn't a stable coin, what's their market cap? And this is set over the past 5 years. So since June 2021. In purple, we have stable coins as a percentage of the total crypto market cap. What's the relationship between these? I mean, of course, that it stands to reason when the price of crypto goes down and people flee their tokens, they sell them for stable coins, usually, unless you're operating on something like Coinbase and you have access to US dollars and so on. So it stands to reason that when everyone goes risk off, they're going to go into stable coins, and the percentage of stable coins versus the total crypto market cap is going to go up. And we see that. But I just want you to see how long these processes take and why we might be in for a little bit of the long haul when it comes to this current correction. And I'm just pointing to the 2022 bull market. So we can see that when the bear market really started to set in towards the tail end of 2021, the stablecoins as a percentage, stablecoins represented somewhere around 8, 9, 10% of the total crypto market cap. And from there, it accelerated over the following year, up until a point where it was about 12, 15% of the total crypto market cap was stablecoins. And of course, that stayed at about that level all the way through the bear market until it started to turn around. When prices started to go up, people started to sell their stablecoins for cryptocurrencies, and we'd see the percentage of the stablecoins of the total market cap decrease again as the market cap rose. And we were again at a low as the bull market set in, which makes intuitive sense. What we've seen over the past 3-4 months is this flip once more. So we saw stablecoins as a percentage of the total market cap hit about 12, 13%. And right now, stablecoins as a percentage of the total crypto market cap is at their highest point since the bear market, actually, since mid-bear market, just as we were climbing out of it. I would just caution to think that we are going to flip bullish really anytime soon. I think what we need is for a lot of these market dynamics to play out. We need to see stablecoins take up much more percentage of the total crypto market cap from here over the next 3 or 4 months. At least if we're going to mirror the mirror what happened in the most recent bull market throughout 2022. And I know that there are a lot of reasons why this time might be different. And we have heard this time and time again over the past 5, 6 years, I mean, particularly over the past 2 or 3 years, because of the advent of ETFs and strategy and so on, that everything is going to be different. There's going to be no such thing as the halving cycle. It's not a real thing. I get why that might feel like that is really true. I'm just not buying it right now. So I would anticipate that we're going to see at least something that resembles what I'm seeing on my screen here for the next year or so, that we're going to see this purple area grow bigger and bigger as the total crypto market cap shrinks over at least the next 3, 4, 6 months. So we're going to see this big purple area eventually give way to the orange area once more. And I apologize if you're only listening to this. I would encourage you to go back and see if you can find the video of this to see the chart that I'm looking at on my screen. Everything is a flow. Capital is a flow. Momentum is a flow. Attention is a flow. And of course, attention is elsewhere right now because there's so much exciting stuff happening with AI, with space, what have you. That does not mean that crypto is never going to come back. I really don't think that really anybody believes that, apart from perhaps doom posters and so on Twitter and elsewhere. But I will just say that I'm just expecting that we might take another few months in order to get out of this funk, especially with the IPOs and everything going on. And I personally, I just think that this chart is evidence only to back that up. But I don't want to discourage you from playing around with certain parts of the market and doing deep research into what might happen once we get out on the other side, because I think we all know that bear markets present many opportunities. And in fact, the best and most lucrative opportunities make themselves apparent in the deepest parts of the bear market. So if we're headed for that, we have a nice amount of time to start understanding how we want to position ourselves for the next cycle, because I can almost guarantee that there will be a next cycle. It might look different. It might look exactly the same, and that's part of the fun. So in any case, I'm going to be here talking you through every step of the way as we go through the next phases of whatever the market might be. But in terms of today, this is about it from me. So as always, look after yourselves, and we'll see you next time.